Hi everyone, let's solve the problem currying. This is one of the important questions which are asked in front-end interviews in JavaScript rounds. So let's understand what is currying. Currying is nothing but transformation of functions. So now let's try to understand this using the example which we have here. So we have to implement curry function, and what does curry accept? It accepts a function, any function, and it transforms into these functions where curried sum can be called in different ways. So now let's try to understand what it is doing. So let's say, what is curried sum in general? It's a function. That is the reason you're being able to call it with parameters, right? So when I call curried sum with 1, I'm able to again call it. So again, this will also return a function. And then I have curried sum of 1 comma 2. This also is a function, as it is returning. We are able to call it with more parameters, and this is also a function. This is going to return us a value. That is the reason when we call this entire function with these parameters, we are getting 6. So there is some way that curry function knows when to return a function and when to return a value, right? It depends on the number of arguments of a function you have passed it to the curry function. So let's say sum has 3 arguments. If I got 3 args, then I will just call some function with all the available arguments, right? If they are less than 3, I will store the arguments which I got so far and then return the function which can be called further. In this case, if I am returning curried sum of 1, it is returning a function which knows we have already passed one argument 1 and will be able to apply for the further arguments. So now let's try to implement this. So in this case, we have curry will return a function which will, so basically curry is the implementation function. It is taking function. It will return a function curried sum. Now inside this curried sum, this function should know when it has to call the sum with the all available arguments or when it has to just return a function. We will be able to determine that based on if function dot length is equals to args dot length. In this case, we can just return the function which we have to apply. That is nothing but function dot apply of this comma arguments I got so far, and apply function accepts an array of arguments, so we will be passing this. Else, we know that we did not get enough arguments so far, we have to return a function which again accepts other arguments, and we will return curry dot apply of this comma. We already have the arguments we got so far, and if there are new arguments, then we will also pass it to the curried function. Now we are done. Now let's try to run this code. we got our solution. So this is how we implement curried function in JavaScript. I hope this is clear. Thank you.